Hello and welcome to Crafting on the Plains. This is episode 6. My name is Jacintha and I'm coming to you from Oklahoma. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you are a subscriber or a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you're a new viewer, welcome. And I did want to just at the very top of the episode thank everybody so much because I have now reached over 500 subscribers. I really had no idea what was going to happen when I started putting out these floss tubes. My channel is not huge, but it's growing, and I'm very, very excited that there are over 500 of you who have liked what I am sharing. So thank you so much again if you've subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed and you're watching and you enjoy this, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it, and that way you can continue to see the crafts that I get up to. Sorry if this is a little bit odd. I am struggling to talk today for some reason. I have recorded this intro a number of times. I think it's just I'm very busy, and I wanted to get this episode in to you because I knew I would not be able to get another one in before the end of October, and I wanted to get some of my Halloween stuff, some of my daughter's birthday stuff just shown to you before we kind of move into Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of that stuff. And it's just been a really busy month, and it's going to be a really busy week for me. So if I sound a little bit scattered, it's just because I've got a lot going on. So, but thank you so much for joining me. I also did want to mention I have an Instagram account, which is linked below, as well as an email if you want to reach out to me there. I did want to say, I've been having, I've not been getting notifications for Instagram messages. And so there's been a couple people that I've accidentally ignored for a couple weeks, and I apologize about that because I definitely did not mean to. I'm going to be more diligent about checking my Instagram DMs because I'm just not getting any notifications of message requests, messages, anything. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to be checking those more so that I can be getting back to y'all because I really appreciate you reaching out and chatting with me about what I am working on. I did want to give another big thank you and a shout out. I had a shout out from the Okie Stitcher, who is Hannah, here on YouTube. She has a floss tube. Her projects are, she has a lot of different kinds of projects, a lot of stuff she's bought on Etsy, a lot of indie designers, and she stitches a lot of stuff that's based off of pop culture, TV, stuff like that. I will say, if you are a nostalgic millennial, you will love the stuff she's stitching. I've definitely enjoyed watching her, but she shouted me out in one of her recent floss tubes, and she's actually also from Oklahoma. And in this small world that we're in Flosstube, she is, I'm pretty sure, from the town over from where I live. So she lives maybe 15-20 minutes away from me. I think she lives out of state now, but she's from that area and does return. So she reached out to me, I reached out to her. So hopefully we'll be able to get together and have coffee and stitch or something when she is in town, because that's very exciting to meet someone on the wide world of Flosstube that has a connection to right up the road for me. So that's really fun. So thank you, Hannah, for shouting me out, and go check out her channel if you have not already for some really cool and interesting projects. Okay, so I'm going to give just a teensy little life update because it is very stitching or crafting related. So we had my daughter's birthday and her birthday party last week. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. I did get her sweater and her dress done in time for her party and her birthday. She was so excited. I was so excited. I was very relieved. We had our birthday party that weekend. It was really cold, and it's been warm the rest of the days since then. And then we went to the pumpkin patch on her actual birthday. We love to do that. We love to spend a day that's just her and us, and go to the pumpkin patch and just do some things that she wants to do. And so she wore her dress to her party, and then she wore her sweater to the pumpkin patch. And I'll insert just a couple little pictures here, maybe. We'll see. And then I'll show you all of those creations more in detail in those relevant sections. So stay tuned if you're interested in those. And yeah, we just have a lot going on. So I'm going to jump right into stitching. So I do not have any new finish objects, but y'all have been enjoying seeing some of my previous finishes. So I just pulled out two. I think I might have some other like Halloween-ish style finishes, but these are the two that I pulled today. So the first one is Lazy Witch. This is by Wild Violet Cross Stitch. And I love this piece so much. This was in a, I can't remember if it was in a Just Cross Stitch magazine or Cross Stitcher, but it was in some magazine. And the library that I'm a member of, we get online subscriptions to certain magazines, or you can check out editions. I guess they have online subscriptions. And so this was in one of them. So I actually was able to stitch that. And I really like Wild Violet Cross Stitch. I would like to stitch more of her stuff, but super cute. And I just finished it round because it seemed to make sense. I used almost all the call for DMC. I think I subbed like one or two that I just couldn't find. And then I added Diamant, I think. Ital. The one that's really wiry into the little buckle and the moon, so it's sparkly. And this stuff was difficult to work with. I think it's the Diamant. That's what it was. This stuff is difficult to work with, but I love the effect. So, and then I just added some pom-pom trim and I finished it on a board. This did end up bowing a little bit, I think because I just used one piece of mat board, so in the future I'm going to use two for my flat finishes, and then it just props up on one of these little easels things. And it goes up on my bookcase. So there's that. And then my other one is one of the cross stitches that I am the most proud of in my entire life. This is Fairy Tales at Bedtime, I think is what it's called. It's by Cute Patterns by Maria Bravko. I love her patterns. I love her style. I love this style of pattern with all of the blends and the back stitching and everything. This is 100% called for. The fabric, so the fabric for this one, I actually don't know. It's a 28 count, something caramel, because it was like a remnant at the Silver Needle in Tulsa. So it wasn't named with like the fabric dyer. This one is from To Dye For Fabrics and More. I think that's what it's called. To Dye For Fabrics. And it is a shop on Etsy. And I have really liked ordering from them. They have really good, I mean, they dye custom, so it does take a little while, but it's a reasonable amount of time. I have had times where I have waited for custom dyed fabric for 6 months or more. I get it. There's shortages on things. Everyone's a small business, but sometimes it is nice to know that you're going to get something within like a few weeks. So really happy with this. And this is a 32 count, which I did a 32 count specifically so that the blends would lay nicely. And I'm really happy with it. So it's beautiful. And this stays out almost all year round. It has a little witch's hat, so it's kind of witchy, Halloween-y, but it stays out all year round, and I absolutely am craving to start another Maria Bravko pattern. I don't need a whip of this like complexity and magnitude in my whip list right now, but do I want one? Yes. Will I cave? Potentially. So we'll see. So those are my previous finishes. And I think I finished both of those last year. Okay. So my whips, I just have a couple whips that I'm going to be showing you. So the one that I've probably got the most progress on is Raccoon Rabble by Plum Street Samplers. And here she is. Okay, find a good place to show it to you. There we go. I don't know why that doesn't want to. Okay, there we go. So I have made a lot of progress. I really just need to fill in the faces. The faces have over 1 stitching on, and this is a 36 count Milk and Honey, I want to say it's called, by Fiber on a Whim. I love this fabric, but it's hard for me to see at night to do the over 1, and I've mostly been stitching at night the last few weeks because I've been so busy during the day. So I've had a hard time seeing to do the over 1 on the faces, so that's how come I haven't done it yet. I need to just pull out my magnifying light and just do it one of these nights. And then I have a few more details. I did start doing some of the back stitching and stuff on the details on the flowers and some of these little swirls just because I wanted to. I actually really, really like back stitching. Can you tell? I like back stitching. I really like how even on a piece like this, it just adds something to it that makes it come alive. This is largely called for. I have all of the called for, this is a mess. I have all of the called for fancy flosses, and then if it's not the called for DMC, it's like a similar shade that was in my stash. And this needle minder is from Rebel Stitcher. I got it at Keepsakes on my one fortunate time I got to go there. I would love to return. All right, and that is being kept in my project bag that I made myself out of some spooky fabric. I love this thing. All right. And I would really like to get Raccoon Rabble finished by Halloween. I have not decided if I'm going to keep working on it after Halloween. On the one hand, it's not an explicitly Halloween piece. It's just fall, so I could continue to stitch it. I mean, you can stitch whatever you want, but I'm a seasonal stitcher. So I could continue to stitch it, but part of me is excited about just moving on to Christmas whips and projects. So we'll see. All right, the next one I have been working on is my full coverage. It is in my giant double project bag folio thing that I made. And I'm trying to find it. I have 2 sides, so to remember which side I put it in. Okay, here we go. So this is Mini Ravenkin by Heaven and Earth Designs, and I have parked threads galore, per usual, but it is what it is. I'm just going to hold it up this way because it's getting bigger. So I think the last time I showed you, I just done the 2 pages. Let me see if I can fold this just so I can illustrate better, point better. I've done these 2 pages, and now I've come down the sides. So this is the 3rd. It's not page 3. I think it's technically page 4. I don't know, whatever. But it's the 3rd page that I'm working on. And so I've started to travel down. I am now halfway down the length. So obviously I've not stitched half, but I think that like about here-ish is the halfway point. So I'm beginning to sort of be able to visualize the size of this. And I'm at about 23%. I would like to just at least get 25% done by the end of the year. I think that's completely doable. I think I'm like, I don't know, a few hundred stitches. I'm not good at math, so don't check that. But I have it in Pattern Keeper, so it tells me what percentage I'm at. So here it is. I am really happy with this. This is very nice, calm stitching for me, and I am excited. So this is a 25 count even weave from Zweigart in antique white, and I am stitching this 2/1 tint stitch. And that's how I like, I mean, I've never done a full coverage before, but I'm really liking doing my full coverage that way. So I would like to at least get to 25% by the end of the year. And I've been trying to work on this because it is a little bit of like a spooky project because it's got ravens, it's dark, whatever, moon. And I just don't know once like I really get into holiday winter stitching if I'm gonna feel into stitching this. So I want to get some of it done now. But we'll see. Okay. And then speaking of holiday Christmas stitching, my last whip that I have worked on is the Winter Wonderland Sal Mystery Stitch Along by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I keep calling this the Christmas Wonderland Sal, or maybe it is the Christmas Wonderland. I call it the Winter Wonderland. This is really bad. Let's see if it says Christmas Wonderland. See, I can't even get it right when I'm correcting myself. All right, so I am still in clue 1. I think they have released at least 3 more clues, but I am very unconcerned about getting this finished or keeping up with it. So here we are. It's a little, I thought I didn't need to iron it, but obviously that was wrong. So there we are. I've finished the like main part of the tree, which is a lot of stitching because you have to change threads so much. So there's a few little like bobbles in here that I need to still do. And then I've started sketching the outline of the ice rink. And I think I very well might, because the next parts are all, my goodness. The next parts are all over on this side, like it goes down, whatever. So, and they're houses and they're cute and they look like a lot less stitches. So I think that I might, once I get the ice rink in, kind of skip over and do some of the other clues and then fill in that giant blue oval slowly because that is a lot of stitching from the people who've completed it. And the needle minder is the one that's is like designed for it by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I got the full kit. So I got the fabric. This is the 32 count Lugana fabric that comes with it. I will say it did not come serged like this. It came raw. So I have a serger, not a problem for me. I serged it, but if that is a concern for you, just maybe want to be aware of that. There are other ways to finish the ends of fabric though. So I have the flosses and everything that came with it. This is a very special project to me. I talked about how in the first time I got this kit that I decided to get it because it reminded me of those like ice rink light up like magnet things that you would put out and then set up a Christmas village around. And the little ice skaters would move because there was magnets underneath the little fake ice rink, and you put little houses and it was like a cute little display. I don't know if everyone had those, but my grandma had one every year and I love to help her set it up. My grandma was a prolific decorator. And so I wanted to stitch this as soon as I saw the ice rink because that's what it reminded me of. And my grandmother did pass away a couple weeks ago, and so I really now feel like I'm really glad that I'm stitching this because it's gonna kind of just remind me of her decorating and of that like time. Because I feel like she decorated for every holiday, like every holiday, but she definitely pulled out all the stops for Christmas for sure. So, okay. And this is just currently living in one of those Amazon project bags. I have a project bag cut out for this, but I have been having to focus on other sewing, so I've not gotten to do it yet. Okay. I think that wraps up my stitching. This is potentially going to be a long episode. That wraps up my stitching. So I'm going to talk next about, I think I'm going to talk about sewing and then knitting because the sewing is closer physically to my piles of stuff. Okay, so sewing. So the first thing I have to show you is the birthday dress. It is finished and it has got fuzz on it a little bit. I'm going to tell y'all this has not been washed since she wore it. It's not bad. Um, but there you go. Actually, that's the back. So there's the front. This thing had a little bit of a scare. So if you have been watching and you're very observant, you may notice that this is a different lining fabric than was originally on it. That is because this is an entirely different bodice than it was originally created for this dress. So this is the Natalie, I think it's the Natalie dress by Violet Field Designs. And I modified it heavily. So I raised the back. The back was originally a low back, and I didn't like that because I thought it would be cold and I wanted to put a sweater underneath it or something. And I didn't like how in some of the pictures, the back where it was really narrow was like pulling a little bit. And so I decided I just raised the back myself, and then I took out the sleeves because I, again, wanted her to be able to wear this over, like, almost as like a pinafore dress or whatever as well. So there it is. I had, last time I showed you this, I'd created the whole bodice. And I made the skirt, I gathered the skirt, I attached the skirt, put in the buttonholes, everything. And fortunately, I had a moment, because I usually work on this kind of stuff at night. I had a moment where I said, before I serge, because I serged the inside of the skirt, like where I attached it. I sewed it and then I serged it. So that way it's a little bit cleaner. It won't fray, and it just is a lot cleaner of a line. It's not as bulky. I thought, before I serge this and make it very, very difficult to take out, let's try it on my daughter. And I'm so glad I did that, because it did not fit at all. And so I panicked, and I did not have enough fabric to remake the whole dress. So I detached the skirt. I ungathered the skirt, because the gathering stitches were all coming out. So I ungathered the skirt, took it off, ungathered it, and what happened was that on this pattern, there were not, so I don't know how this occurred, but somehow some of the pages did not print to scale, and some of them did. I don't know. So I think what it was that I printed off the pattern pieces I needed, and then the very first page of the pattern was a piece I did not need. That was the only one that had the little 1-inch tester square. And so I realized that, and so I immediately printed the 1-inch tester square. Did not change any settings on the printer, any settings on anything, laptop, whatever. Printed that off, 1-inch tester square, measured it, it was good. So I thought, okay, fine. Somehow, something changed when I printed off the first page and those other pages, because it was, so I cut out the size 6 and it came up as a size 4, about. So that would explain why it did not fit her. And so I panicked a little bit, and I went and I printed it out again, made sure it was the correct size, the best I could, because I didn't have a tester square. And I went ahead and I actually cut out the size 8 on here, because I wanted it to be a little bit loose, because one, it doesn't have any elasticity in the waist, and so I was a little bit concerned about her getting it on and off. I wanted her to have plenty of room. I wanted to have a little bit of room to grow. And again, I want to be able to layer like turtlenecks and stuff underneath this as well. So I went ahead and cut out a couple sizes bigger, and I'm glad I did, because it fits really well. It's just a tad loose, but again, plenty of room for layering and growth and stuff like that. So here it is. The skirt is a bit shorter than what I had anticipated, because I cut the size 7 skirt, but I think it actually ended up being about the size 5 skirt, because again, my scale was off when I originally cut it, and I did not have any more space. Now, I guess I could try to like add some like lace or something to the bottom. I don't really know, but it's fine for now. Cross that bridge when she grows. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. I like the buttons. I did forget to put in the pockets in my like scramble to get this thing done. The pockets are actually not part of the pattern. I didn't even cut the pockets. That's my problem, is I always add in pockets, but I have another pocket pattern, and I need to just start cutting the pockets at the same time as I cut everything else, because or else I forget to put them in. But so here it is. I'm really happy with it. This is a limited edition fabric from Joann's. It's from their Pride collection. She wanted Rainbow Minnie Mouse, and lo and behold, they had it. So awesome. And yeah, so anyway, ignore the fuzz on it. She did end up wearing it on her birthday with like a little white cream colored turtleneck or something underneath it. It was really cute. And then I'll show y'all the inside just because why not. So there is inside out. The bodice is lined and then the skirt is not. So I think I will make more of these now that I have the sizing figured out, because it is a really nice, simple, staple dress. Okay, so that is, sorry if that crinkled. That is that. The next thing that I'm going to do is show you her Halloween costume that I have made. I did not make the whole costume, but this thing, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this situation. This, let me take this off. This is a vest. It is a fur vest. My daughter wanted to be a purple cat. Basically, we went to Joann's several months ago, and I asked her what she wanted to be. We were looking at different fabric options, and of course she found this purple fun fur and decided that she needed to be a purple cat. So I made her this vest that has got a tail attached. It's detachable. So I made her this vest. And then she's just going to wear some purple leggings and a purple shirt under it, and then she has some little cat ears. So this was a trial a little bit because it's fun fur. I will tell you, if you have a serger, what I did is when I cut out my pieces, I immediately took them to serger. Like, cut out one piece, ran it over the serger, and serged all around the entire piece. And that did save me a lot of trouble and a lot of mess. I think maybe if you don't have a serger, I wouldn't say like zigzag the edges. I don't think that would do the same thing. But maybe like put some interfacing, like, or something. I don't know. Do something to your edges, because I have sewn with fun fur before in the past and not done anything to my edges, and regrets. So I made this vest. I used a coat pattern that I had just bought several years ago. I'll try to link it below if I can find it, but honestly, you can just use whatever bodice, like, top pattern that you have. So I'm just going to show you on this pattern. You will not be able to do it to scale, and I've butchered it. So I took this pattern, I cut it shorter than the coat, because the coat was supposed to be full length, so I cut it shorter, and then I liked how in the pattern the edges were rounded, so I just eyeballed rounding the edge. I also, this is the center front line, because obviously in a coat you would have an overlap for buttons, and I didn't want that, so I just eyeballed like a 1/2 inch off of the center front line and cut it. Whatever. And then I wanted it to be a V-neck, so again I just picked a point relatively even with the armpit and just cut a little diagonal line up and met it up with the shoulder. The good and bad thing about this fabric is difficult to work with, and it is very, very, very difficult to sew accurately, accurate seam allowances, sew accurately. But this fur hides a multitude of sins, y'all. It is, I mean, you can't see much, right? Like, so it doesn't really matter that you can't get it that accurate, because you can't see that you weren't accurate. So, so this is where I am. I did line it, and I lined it with like the worst fabric to lines. Like, this is some purple, like lilac colored, like sleepwear nightgown fabric. It's like a little bit stretchy and it's slinky and it's also difficult to work with. But number one, I wanted it out of my stash. Number two, it was a good color. And number three, I thought I wanted something that had a little bit of stretch because the faux fur was a little stretchy. So I felt like it just, I don't know, whatever. It turned out fine. It turned out fine. So I fully lined it all the way. And so, yeah, fully lined. I added in some little ribbon ties so that it can be tied up in a little bow at the front. I still need to cut these ribbons and make them like perfect, but I'll probably do that when she's wearing it so that it looks perfect the day that she wears it. So there's that. And then the tail is actually detachable. So I have a little clip that's in here and it just clips off. So there's a little D-ring and a little, I just attached this. I put some interfacing, oh my gosh, this is hard to show. I put some interfacing in there so I'd have something to hold on to a little bit better. And then I ended up tacking it down as well by hand to help it. So I sewed it in with the interfacing before I finished the lining, and then I hand tacked it because I felt like it was drooping a little bit. So this way, I felt like her tail would get in the way when she's like at school and stuff, because of course they're doing a wear your costume day to school. So this way, when she goes to school, everything like that, she can just wear the vest and she won't have something that other kids can pull or that she'll sit on or accidentally just rip out of the costume or whatever. Because that's my fear is she's going to come home and this thing is going to somehow be destroyed in a way I cannot fix it before trick-or-treating. But then when we actually do the trick-or-treating, we're going to like a carnival or whatever, when we're there, you know, I can help her out with stuff. I can just clip the tail on and there it is. So super cute. So this is the blue cat vest thing. Yeah, honestly, it was easier to sew than I thought it would be. I think serging the edges of the fun fur was a massive game changer for me. I'm not saying that I'm going to make a whole lot more faux fur vests, but this was more enjoyable of a project than I anticipated it being. So I'm pretty happy with that. I can't believe that I made a fully lined faux fur vest. And it turned out decent. I mean, it's not perfect. There's some like puckers in the lining where I hand sewed it like the bottom part together, but it's a Halloween costume and I mean, I made it in like 2 days, so I'm pretty proud of myself. Okay. I have a little bit of sewing haul, so I'm gonna go ahead and show that now just because I did not crinkle this, but it's in the bag. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you sort of randomly what I got. I picked up some fusible fleece, the Pellon. A lot of people use this in their project bags, and I just want to try it out. I want to see if I like it. I have some batting that I had been planning on using, but the batting is just regular quilt batting, and so I kind of want to save that for projects that I'm going to be quilting. This one, I just want to see if I like its thickness in the project bag a little bit better. Then everything else I got is for a project. So one thing that I do every year is I sew myself and my daughter matching Thanksgiving outfits. And in the past, it's usually been dresses. This year, we decided that we wanted skirts. So partially because I feel like I've been doing a lot of crafting that's been like on a deadline this year, and so I just wanted something a little bit more simple. So we're gonna do skirts. So I found this at Joann's because we had to go up to Oklahoma City to do our family holiday photos, and the Joann's in my town is closed. So I used the opportunity to stop by there, and I got this not very well folded fabric. It's like a jersey knit, and it's like a mustard yellow with these little flowers. So I thought that was really pretty. And I'm gonna make, I think, like a maxi skirt for myself, maybe with a little paper bag waist. We'll see how industrious I get. And I'm gonna make a little dress for her as well. Or a little skirt, excuse me, for her as well. So we'll have matching skirts, and then I think we both have like similar looking tops. So we'll figure that out. But we'll still have matching Thanksgiving outfits. They'll just be a little bit more toned down this year than the past years. And then I picked up some elastic. So for myself, I got this I got this 1.5 inch waistband elastic. I like to use this. I think this is really flattering for waistbands for like adult women's clothing. I think it's really flattering. It helps define your waist well. I think sometimes the thinner elastic just doesn't look so good, at least on my body type. And then for hers, I just got the 1 inch elastic because I think that works well for her. So, and I think the jersey will be nice because it'll be a little bit stretchy. It will be not as like wrinkly as if we got a woven. So very happy about that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk knitting, and I have a knitting finished object. As you probably have guessed, or I've told you already, it is this. It is the birthday sweater. I'm so happy with it. So thank you everybody who commented and gave your opinions on knitting the sleeves without the rainbow, and that's exactly what I did. I think that was what I was leaning towards, but y'all convinced me. So thank you. I really appreciate the input. So I did the sleeves without the rainbows, and I'm really happy with it. I think it looks, let me see if I can back up so I can show it to you. It's so big. She's so big. So yeah, I'm so happy that I knit it without the rainbows because I think that it really does make the rainbows. Somebody said it would make the rainbow on the body pop more, and I think it does, and it's great. So this is a bit long on her, which is exactly how I want it. So it's a little bit tunic length. So it's really cute. The sleeves are just a tad long. I recently washed this, and I'm a little concerned the sleeves might have shrunk up a little bit. But it's just a tad long, and it's not enough to roll, but it kind of scrunches, so it looks cute. And yeah, I'm super, super happy with it. I knit the neckband, and I did a tubular cast off on all of my ribbing, which is an endeavor, but it's just so worth it to me because it looks so good. So this is knit using Knit Picks Brava worsted, which is an acrylic. I use an acrylic for a lot of her sweaters nowadays because she goes off places and gets things spilled on them, paints at school. They don't always wear smocks, stuff like that. So I want to know that I can wash like well anything that I make for her. She's also very sensitive when it comes to like stuff on her skin. And even like merino, like, I mean, there's just been stuff that she's found itchy that I do not find itchy. So I hope to go back to making her more stuff out of pure wool soon. But right now in this stage of life, acrylic is what works for her. This is The Adventures with Rainbows by Jennifer Steingass. I think I knit the size 6 to 7 year. And I realize I've been very bad about giving you the stats on my knitting. So for the body, I used a size 6, US 6 needle, and then for the cuffs, I used a US size 4. Okay, so that is that one. I'm very happy. I loved knitting this, but I'm happy to have it done. And I was weaving in my ends like 2 days for her birthday, so. Okay, my last thing that I'm working on with knitting are my socks. This is the finished one that I've already done before. This is Dragon Horde Yarns, the Bone Runes sock set. And the pattern is Morning Coffee Socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. However, I'm using the mini heel flap and gusset from Mina Phillips vanilla sock pattern, and I'm using the beanie toe pattern from Jewels of So Sweet Violet's Sweet Vanilla Cuff Down. So that is my go-to heel, and that is my go-to toe. So I just add them into literally whatever sock pattern I'm doing. So this is, I'm at a weird place to show you because I'm working on the heel right as we speak. So as you can see, I'm mid-heel. But there we go. I'll show you the patterning a little bit better on this one. So it's like a broken rib style. It's hard to see. But this sock set is beautiful. I really love it. And it's been fun to work on because it's nice, like, moody colors for this fall. I would really like to, oops, I would really like to finish these soon so I can start knitting some, like, more holiday socks, either socks for other people or when I was in, I went to a little yarn store this summer when I was in Scotland. I went to a little yarn store in Inverness, which sadly I think was closing. Like they were having their clearance sale when I was there. But they had some West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas yarn that I really want to try out. So that I bought and I really want to make. So I need to get a wiggle in finishing these socks so I can start my Christmas socks. Okay, that is everything that I've shown you, or that I have to show you. And if you've stuck around this long, thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you so much for watching, and please give me a comment down below to let me know what you are excited to start working on for like the upcoming season, because I'm definitely looking to get some inspiration for the next sort of like, do you start your holiday stuff after Halloween, or do you wait a little while? Like, what do you do, and what are the projects that you're fixing to start working on? I would love to know. So I hope that you have a great next couple weeks until I see you again.